There's an ongoing problem happening right now amidst the video game industry that has gotten many talking. Of course, I'm talking about the censorship of payment processors that has begun to plague seemingly everything in the past 2 weeks alone. In case you don't know, Collective Shout is a feminist organization located in Australia that has successfully forced places like Steam to bend the knee and get rid of hundreds of adult themed video games by pressuring the payment companies ranging from Visa, MasterCard, and more to comply. It was a massive move by this activist organization that ended up working in their favor. Since then, things have really honestly only gotten worse. And now players are pushing back, and it's not all that Steam is facing in terms of controversies that I'll get into later on as well. Firstly, after Steam bent the knee and removed 418 adult-themed video games from their platform, the Steam player base has quickly rallied to push back against what is so clearly blatant censorship. A Change.org petition has already begun that has, of this video being made anyways, almost crossing 50,000 signatures already. Here's the petition, and it's titled, "Tell MasterCard, Visa, and activist groups stop controlling what we can watch, read, or play." The petition is lengthy. I'll read the beginning of it at least, which says, "MasterCard and Visa are interfering with legal entertainment, often under pressure from advocacy groups like Collective Shout. We demand an end to this censorship of fiction and the right to choose the stories we enjoy without moral policing. MasterCard and Visa have increasingly used their financial control to pressure platforms into censoring legal fictional content. Entire genres of books, games, films, and artwork are being demonetized or deplatformed, not because they're illegal, but because they offend the personal values of executives or activist groups. This behavior is not just overreach. It's blatant hypocrisy." Of course, I'll leave a link to this Change.org petition in the description box below so that you can all sign it yourselves. It's not region locked either, at least I think so anyway, so you're good to go if you want to get this issue placed in front of more people, and of course eyes, and especially those in government who can actually fight back against this sort of thing. And also, if you enjoy the content, consider liking the video, please, and subscribing to keep up to date on everything. It helps immensely. Also, as this part of the petition also states, it's hypocritical that platforms like OnlyFans are allowed to exist, which is quite literally just PORN. I can't even say the word on YouTube, unfortunately, because it's another form of censorship, but the line that gets crossed is an adult-themed video game instead. It's hypocritical, and when I say it's a slippery slope, this is indeed the most slippery of slopes, people. These are also 4 demands of this petition, which are as follows. Stop censoring legal fictional content that complies with the law and platform standards. Reject influence from activist groups that promote moral panic or misrepresent fiction as harm. Be fully transparent about content restrictions and the rationale behind them. Protect creators' rights to make legal adult content and ensure a fair appeals process for any penalized media." I know this story may not be very glamorous or anything, but guys, this is probably one of the most important things to talk about right now, and share more info so people are informed and can actually push back, because things are getting dire fast. You need to realize just how damaging this can be to everything that you play, buy, or consume in any capacity as a citizen. These activist groups are trying to control everything. They are literally forcing Steam and more to bend to their will. Even itch.io or itch.io, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm going to go with itch.io. If it's wrong, let me know. But anyway, which if you don't know, it's a website that is a lot like Steam. However, itch.io is more geared towards independent games than, say, full-blown AAA gaming. Itch.io is more like a digital marketplace for everything from games to manga and more. Even music and gaming assets can be found on the website too. It's essentially a place that has a lot of freedom of expression at the heart of everything, except, well, not anymore. As seen here, Itch.io has updated their terms of service without even telling their own creators and users beforehand. This decision was made immediately following pressure from payment processors who were refusing to allow collaboration with the website, unless they self-censored themselves, and no, I'm not kidding. As seen here, unsurprisingly, the reason that this happened was, of course, again, due to Collective Shout, the same feminist organization that has plagued and ruined Steam's own free speech operations, by also going after their payment processors. This is why this story is so important. As Ichio says, as you're seeing on screen, this all happened rapidly. They had, according to them anyways, no time to tell people of this change. It was done instantly as soon as these activist groups attempt to pigeonhole and suffocate these platforms of their payment infrastructures. Yeah, guys, this is bad. Like, really, really bad. They're now successfully censoring both Steam and Itch.io in literally under a week. This is serious. But it also gets more concerning because they didn't just remove the ability to buy or download these games that were considered not safe for work. As the community note on X says, as you can see here, Itch.io went as far as to remove games and delist them from people's libraries that they have already paid for, effectively removing hundreds of games or just content in general, without refunding a single cent to anyone that has bought any of these games or anything really that is deemed problematic to these activist groups. Yes, that's insane, but as you can see, the power of these activists is growing day by day, and it is beyond concerning. How long until they reach PlayStation and more, demanding this game and that get delisted? Remember, they did try to get rid of Detroit Become Human for violence on women as well a few years ago. So how long till they go after any game that they claim is too vulgar, if even slightly that just offends them? For an example, Wu Chang Fallen Feathers just came out. I've been playing the game. It's fun. I'm really enjoying it. And if you like Souls-like games like Black Myth Wukong, yeah, it's probably right up your alley too. And the game was a big success already. It was able to hit a peak of 131,000 players within 12 hours of release on Steam. But the game has also been rifled in its own controversy from reviews from PC Gamer, which gave Wu Chang a 49 out of 100, calling it overtly sexualized and having a doll-like protagonist meant only for the male gaze. Even Xbox Era, which gave the game a 97 out of 100, docked it 3 points by calling it Gooner approved, which, yeah, raised a lot of eyebrows online, and the scores are mostly positive review-wise besides that PC Gamer one. But what actually worries me here is that so many reviews out there for Wu Chang are labeling the game as overtly sexual. Why that matters is because how long until Collective Shout discovers the existence of Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, and then forces platforms like Steam, or hell, even PlayStation, to delist the game because they deem it to be too sexual, or they threaten to also go after payment processors unless the game is taken down. It may sound like hyperbole now, but if they were able to censor hundreds of games in a single week, why not a single other game too? You see, what we're witnessing is a feminist chess move that cannot be beaten as of right now anyways. Which is why I implore people to sign that petition that I referenced earlier, because we need all hands on deck for this one. Yes, I know, there's plenty to combat in video games alone. I know, I just covered Pal World. You got the Stop Killing Games things, you got Pirate Software probably still doing something stupid for all we know behind the scenes. But honestly, right now, all of that is being dwarfed by this current problem, in my opinion. Because what Itch.io did with their abrupt decision is another extension of something like Stop Killing Games. But this has evolved into effectively what I would just call stop censoring games. You see, after Gamergate 2 happened and the DEI slop was understandably challenged and destroyed by practically everyone, we all just believed blissfully that the industry would return to normalcy. Instead, it seems like the very kinds of people who champion that sort of slop have now gone scorched earth with this credit card nonsense. And how long until any game that features any sort of sexualized character is banned or removed from digital storefronts? For an example, I have 60 hours in Atelier Yumiya. I think it's a great game that everyone should check out. I really like that game a lot. But, I mean, Yumiya, as you can see on screen, she's an attractive character. She's a woman with outfits in-game that do indeed, I guess unfortunately now, show skin. So how long until Collective Shout learns of Atelier Yumiya, or hell, the Ryza trilogy before it, and claims those two are just overtly sexualized and must also be removed or else? So where does this end? What this could do is force the feminist filter of everyone must be as ugly as they are inside or out onto every game. Otherwise, your game is going to be targeted, censored, or used as blackmail to even remove it as well. I would not be surprised if Collective Shout targets Wu Chang in the future, because it is the next hot game right now. And the main character is, of course, drawing all sorts of ire from the usual types who hate anything that isn't as ugly as they are. Just go look at how the founder of Collective Shout is moving right now. Melinda Tankard Rice said this recently about people being upset that so many games are being censored. Here's what she said. All these PORN sick brain rotted PEDO gamer fetishes so desperate to get their hands on RAPE My Little Sister INCEST games, they're now exchanging clues on how to find them so that they don't all die overnight. I have to censor myself like crazy just to say what she said there, dude. God damn. But of course, this is not someone who even plays these video games. She is just lumping all games regardless of context or actual content, and then just claiming that every game that she and her group have successfully censored and removed are just games that are full of PORN and RAPE, which is completely not true. It's like a boomer parent thinking that all games are just Mario Bros or something, or any other generalization someone makes about anything. Like, oh, you watch anime, isn't that the cartoons with the little girls in it, even though things like Dragon Ball, Attack on Titan, or I don't know, Escaflowne exist, but to them, this Melinda lady is just all the same thing. Every female anime character in any game or manga is underage or a victim to these people. Every game that has a woman showing cleavage is just PORN. It doesn't matter to them, okay? It's all the same thing. And when you have these people who clearly do not consume, nor do they understand the content that they want censored in the first place, they're not carefully sifting through each game to actually check its contents. They just see something they don't like and go, yep, that's bad, let's censor that too. That cannot stand. We have to push against this. Especially when these people are ousted as hypocrites who claim that they love movies like Cuties. Yeah, that Cuties, whose poster I also have to censor because, just look at it. So anyway, Savvy, a friend of the channel, has been at war with these feminist weirdos for days now, calling them out for defending movies like Cuties, which should be the exact kind of content that they want to censor, but of course people who work at Collective Shout like this LS Kennedy lady defended it instead. Only for Savvy then to immediately find evidence of other Collective Shout members who've defended and want to protect movies like Cuties as well as seen here. Again, I have to censor the poster because it has a bunch of girls on it showing skin that are underage. Anyway, whatever. These people, as you can see, okay, they don't make any sense. You want to censor sexualized content, but you're fine with little kids in skimpy clothes dancing and shaking their butts on screen for Netflix? Like, these people are just corrupted. It also doesn't help that this censorship has gone so far that even PayPal recently tried to censor their own users who use their platform for spreading what they call misinformation, only to of course retract their claims due to immense backlash, and rightfully so. Like, the censorship is real, guys, and it's everywhere. Steam is the primary battleground, sure, but this problem is permeating through everything. As seen here, these are just some of the things that Collective Shout is censoring or forcing payment processors to censor themselves. Yet the things that are listed here are not being equally compared across the board. They're instead just painting everything with a broad stroke, like I said. They're not actually checking to see if what they're pushing censorship on actually adheres to all the things that they have here as well. Instead, it's just a bunch of out-of-touch feminists just seeing anything they don't like and crying foul till they get their way. And again, they're not checking these things. If it looks anything like something they don't like, that has to be censored. And then if it's not censored, places like Steam are also getting blasted for essentially allowing certain companies to skirt past their policies. Let me tell you about this story now too. So, in case you don't know, there's a company named Nexon. They're a South Korean company. They make a lot of games, from the first Descendant, the first Berserker Kazan. Weird that they got 2 games with the first in their title, but this section is actually about a game called Blue Archive. So that's a gacha game that you're seeing on screen here, where Nexon, the publisher, was also being accused of pushing users to give positive reviews for the game on Steam. And this was all being done for exchange for in-game items to use for this Blue Archive game. Obviously, this was against terms of service for Steam, yet Valve just seemingly allowed it to happen anyways. As this user on Steam detailed, Nexon, a billion-dollar company, rallied users to abuse Steam's review policies in order to get positive reviews for their game. Yeah, you can't do this, of course, since it artificially mishandles the review system within Steam. Yet despite this, Steam has not banned Blue Archive, nor any other game that has been made or published by Nexon. Players online, from what I gathered, either didn't care that Nexon was doing this, and others were annoyed, claiming that Nexon was just getting away with market manipulation by preying on users' desires for more in-game currency or whatever else. Whichever camp you fall into, Nexon got away with it, and Steam still hasn't done anything about it. Although, at least in an update, Nexon has pulled this in-game event from Steam for Blue Archive because they knew they got caught quite literally breaking terms of service. They have also garnered, as seen here from Automaton.com's article, around 11,000 reviews, dude, for the game within its first month of launch on Steam alone. And they landed a very positive rating as well. Of course, this was all done because they manipulated the systems of Steam by giving goodies to players just to be nice to them. Regardless though, Steam still hasn't banned or reprimanded Nexon at all. And while sure, the event was eventually removed from the game entirely, the reviews that were influenced by this event have not yet been removed, nor has the rating been changed either. So Nexon basically got away with it and Steam allowed it to happen. And you may ask why, but I think it's pretty simple and it's honestly also very concerning, which is that Steam likely refused to discipline Nexon because they make them too much money. Which also makes this whole situation now another real problem if Steam is willing to look the other way, simply if some company is putting money in their bank accounts and it keeps increasing, despite the ethical dilemmas behind the actions of these key publishers. Look, all I'm saying is that when I look at Steam right now, I consider it to be compromised in a few ways. They are 100% censoring and removing games because feminist groups are now up in arms and targeting their cash flow. But they're also allowing these companies to break TOS as long as said money keeps coming in. And I know that people love Steam, I do think it's a great platform, but this does need to be said. There has to be accountability. And honestly, this feels as if Steam and its leaders are just kind of asleep at the wheel as long as more money keeps flowing their way. And in a cruel twist, Nexon even confirmed that the promised goodies that they were going to give Blue Archive players for helping them manipulate the gacha game into a positive rating, they won't even receive the bonuses that were promised to them. So, they collectively swindled everyone, got what they wanted, and then gave people nothing in return for it. And this just seems to be a reoccurring theme in this video, doesn't it? Itch.io just removes games that you paid for and then says, sorry, you can't have these, otherwise we lose our money. Nexon does this too, Steam just allows it. Like, what is going on, man? But it gets more dire, also from Automaton.com. Visa Japan CEO says disabling card payment for legal adult content is necessary to protect the brand. You see what I mean? Steam could have stopped this had they just stood their ground and told Collective Shout to just screw off. But now because they didn't, everything is being impacted now because of it. I'm not exactly blaming Steam per se, but they did have a chance to stop this, and that is the truth. Like, even another service called Melonbrooks, as seen here, has had its payment processors completely severed after they refused to comply with these same activist groups. So yes, this problem is very dire. And Steam and all the rest of them have allowed Pandora's box, the gates of oblivion to open, whatever you want to call it, and it's not stopping anytime soon. Great, as I was editing this, more came out, so I'm sorry if I sound a bit different. This part was recorded after I was already done editing the video. Anyway, so it now turns out the Collective Shout is also targeting X or Twitter with their ban too. They want to censor all PORN on the platform and anything else that they deem unfit to exist by their standards. So, there you go, guys. Now your so-called free speech platform that allows people to voice their opinions freely might just be getting cooked by this, as X obviously has not only advertisers, but many people's credit cards on file to pay for premium and then some. They are genuinely coming for everything and they want to rule with an iron fist, and no, I am not kidding. So please don't sit back and think that this one will work itself out, because this will just keep getting worse. This is something that we need to be shouting from the rooftops in order to ensure that it doesn't get worse than it already is. First it's Steam, then Itch.io, then these manga sites, and now what, X, and then what else? YouTube, Google in general? So where does this end? So I implore you to please sign that petition, because this issue needs to be brought forth in front of more eyes in legislation. It has to stop. It needs to be fixed. So I seriously hope that you all tell people what's going on here, share the video, share the petition even, just get the word out there, people, please. We need to stop this before it reaches a further point of no return. How long until Wu Chang, Atelier, Final Fantasy, God knows what else, gets pulled into this maelstrom of disinformation and scare tactics and media manipulation. This needs to end now, but let me know what you think as always. Thank you for watching, subscribe to keep up to date, and I'll see you next time.